Brookland News Live starts right now with breaking news.
Good day, good to be with you. I'm Jackson Mitchell. We're starting Brooklyn News Live here just a little early because we have just gotten in some information we want to bring to you right now. That is that a woman was fatally shot after an ICE incident in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We want to get to the coverage here right this moment. We're getting some pictures. We want to get you guys some pictures, of course, live on the scene of what police say. Again, I should say ICE agents say was a response to self-defense of the Minneapolis mayor, and everybody else says, well, no, it wasn't that. We are going to get you into that scene if you guys will just stand by with us for just a moment. We are having some trouble here getting that feed pulled up for you guys. We should have it here at any moment. But again, it was an armed incident where video has now revealed that a woman essentially appears in this video. We'll show you it here in just a moment. To be driving through, police say it was simply because she was exiting the scene. We want to get you to that video here in just a moment. We should have it somewhere in here. It looks like we have it right this moment. I'm sorry here. We were jumping here on the air because of this news, and we wanted to bring that to you here, of course, on this edition of Brooklyn News Live. And this feed is from there we go. And then one moment here, and I also want to play some comments because the mayor of Minneapolis spoke a few moments ago, and pretty much said, quote, ICE needs to, quote, get the F out of here. And I want to play that for you. Let's go right now to our live picture that we have of this breaking scene. Again, a woman fatally shot after an ICE incident there. I want to play the video for you here if you'll allow me to, and then we will get to some of the comments we are getting in from public officials as well as that press conference that was held by the police chief and the mayor a few moments ago. Firstly, to this video, I want to warn to our viewers, this could be found disturbing. This video from X, it has not been independently confirmed, but yet this video does reveal quite a scene that many say is different from what ICE agents are saying. I'm going to take this graphic out and we are going to roll it for you here. Let's transition to this scene now and let's play the video. Here is the video, and I want to warn you, it might be found disturbing to some viewers. As I said, that video, they're hard just to watch, just to the average eye. They're so it's hard to watch just hearing the gunshots and in the moment that foot just continuously slams on the pedal there. So again, when I go back to this live shot there, protesters gathering at this scene. Of course, Minneapolis has been the face of where many of these ICE agents have been, where many of the uh, popular moments that have gathered national attention. This is the place that it has been occurring at. So we wanted to bring that to you first here on Brooklyn News. I want to get to some of the reaction that we are getting in. First, from the Homeland Security Secretary, she is, one moment here. She has weighed into this, I believe. If you'll give me just a moment. Yes, she weighed into all of this in a video. Okay. Excuse me, guys. This is the news coming in as we get it. She has weighed into this all in a video here. I want to play that for you. So I want to play that for you. The Homeland Security Secretary again weighing in on all of this. One moment, and I will play that audio out for you. You'll just have to stand by with us here, and we'll have it on your screen in a matter of just a few moments here. Give me 1 second. There's an advertisement playing. Okay, here is Christy Nome just a few moments ago.
Or a mayor that has a Democrat mayor. He's going to fight for every single American to make sure they live in a safe community and can raise their kids.
Alrighty, so I've just noticed that technical error, and I apologize for that. I'm going to take you back to the scene, and then we are going to play that audio once again. Before I play it once again, I do want to apologize for that. I did not realize that the sound had not been turned up. You may have heard just a few of those comments. I know the wind was blowing. But again, a live look there in Minneapolis, where we again are learning has been a woman fatally shot after an ICE incident. We do know at 2:15 the Minnesota governor Tim Walz will hold a press conference. When that begins, we will take you there. What I do want to do is play this video for you again. If you will hold with me again, I'm sorry that you guys were actually unable to hear, but the woman that you saw speaking there, Christy Noam, she is the Homeland Security Secretary, so she is the one over these ICE agents, and she is speaking in Brownsville, Texas. This is moments ago. Let's go back there.
Domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well. You've seen me in the last couple of days deploy over 2,000 more officers to the Minneapolis area. And in the last 2 days, we've arrested hundreds and hundreds of dangerous criminals, not just fraudsters who stole from the American people billions of dollars and put it in their pockets and enriched their friends from overseas and themselves, but also individuals who committed acts of murder and rape and trafficking and drug exploitation and child exploitation. So we're going to continue to do our work. And I want to remind everybody that the act like we saw today of using a vehicle to try to kill an officer and his colleagues and the other people around him is something that every politician, every elected official, everyone in this country should be able to rally around and say that it is wrong. And that sanctuary cities and sanctuary states that protect individuals who do that should no longer be allowed. That those individuals that are in leadership positions in these sanctuary jurisdictions need to work with us to make sure that every single person that's out there enforcing the law can be safe, but also so that all of our citizens can continue to be safe too. Domestic acts of terrorism like this will not stand, and I'm grateful that we have the leadership in Washington, D.C. that recognizes it, and will make sure that it's working to keep every single community safe, regardless of who's in charge in that city. President Trump gets up every day and will work to keep people safe, whether they're in a red state or a blue state or in a city that has a Republican mayor or a mayor that has a Democrat mayor. He's going to fight for every single American to make sure they live in a safe community and can raise their kids without fear.
Video there from just moments ago, again, as in Brownville, Texas, the Homeland Security Secretary there, Kristi Noem, holding a press conference just moments ago, weighing in on all of that. Want to bring things back into focus here, what we know right now. Again, a woman has been fatally shot in an ICE incident in Minneapolis. We played the video for you just a few moments ago. We are going to play that video in just a moment, but the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, he is weighing in all of this, quote, telling ICE to, quote, get the F out. We're going to play some remarks from that press conference that was held again moments ago. As we do want to note here, we are also waiting on another press conference from Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. That's expected to come a little bit past the 2 o'clock hour, so about 2:15 Central is when we do expect that press conference. When it comes in, we will take that to you live. In the meantime, though, we want to play this a piece from just, this is the press conference from moments ago, excuse me.
To get justice and to make sure that there is an investigation that is conducted in full. But what we do know is that a 37-year-old woman is dead and that she was shot by ICE. We've dreaded this moment since the early stages of this ICE presence in Minneapolis. Not only is this a concern that we've had internally, we've been talking about it. They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people. So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed. As soon as it happened and we learned of the incident, we had several priorities. The first, of course, was to get the victim to the hospital and to get care as soon as possible. To the family, I'm so deeply sorry. There's nothing that I can say right now that's going to make you or your relatives or the friends of the victim feel any better. There were, I believe, 2 Minneapolis police officers that responded and were in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. The second was to get ICE off of the scene. There were dozens, if not hundreds, of ICE and federal officers that were there at the time. Having them there was only causing more chaos. Having them there was only making a difficult situation even more problematic, and one that, yes, they created themselves. There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not done. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now, and justice is what we've all got to get. Next, a message to our community. Look, we all know that the agenda of this Trump administration is to create chaos. Let us respond right now with our best versions of self. This is a moment where all of us in Minneapolis and beyond, we can rise to the occasion. We can show them who we are. We can show them the kind of courage, bravery, love, and compassion that makes Minneapolis, Minneapolis, and that makes America, America. We are better than a bunch of ICE agents being deployed to cities around the country and ripping apart families and communities. We're better than that. And so we are going to meet that hate with love. We are going to meet that despair with hope. We are going to meet that injustice with constitutional justice ourselves. And we're going to make sure that in this very difficult moment, we do not take the bait that these ICE agents are trying to create and that the federal government, to be clear, wants. They want us to respond in a way that creates a military occupation in our city. They want an excuse to come in and show the kind of force that will create more chaos and more despair. Let's not let them. Let's rise to this occasion. Let's show them something far more beautiful than the kind of division that they're trying to stoke. Let's show them unity of purpose, of love, and the courage of our conviction. Our conviction, to be clear, is rock solid, and it is for our neighbors, all of our neighbors. It's for people who have lived here for 80 years. It is for new immigrants who have made this city a better place. That's the kind of love that we're going to show up with right now. If you're angry, I get it. I am too. If you're feeling that kind of despair, it's understandable. Let's show them who we can be. Let's show up with peace. To march, to protest, to hug one another, to love all the way with peace. Do not give them what they want. Finally, we've got a lot of work that needs to happen right now to make sure that, first, of course, the scene was secured as much as possible, that we were able to get the victim, now deceased, to the hospital. We've got a lot of work to do in the coming days. I want to thank our city enterprise for the work that they have done, but more importantly, what they're about to do, because this is going to be heavy, and our city has been through a lot. We also know that we're prepared to do right for people. Among them is our chief of police. I'll invite him up.
Alrighty, Mayor of Minneapolis Jacob Fry reacting there as we approach the top of the hour. If you were just joining us, welcome into Brookland News Live. It is good to be with you. We are following a lot of headlines right now, but the big one that we are tracking is this breaking news out of Minneapolis, where we have learned within the last few moments, I should say last few hours, that an ICE agent in a self-defense reaction shot and killed a 37-year-old woman in Minneapolis again, in a response to self-defense. We are following it here. When we get more updates, you heard there, specifically, I'll note, you heard there the Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry specifically saying, well, ICE can, quote, get the F out of here. Essentially something we've heard all along, and the entire mission by ICE as they have been serving in Minneapolis is from Jacob Fry, is that ICE doesn't belong here and ICE doesn't need to be here. I want to take you right now to a statement we are getting in from the Department of Homeland Security. They've been pouring in reaction. We showed you some reaction earlier from the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, and I just realized that I'm not moments ago in Brownsville, Texas. That was a technical glitch. I apologize about that. But again, this quote here, the Department of Homeland Security is reacting. This is Trisha McLaughlin. She's a spokesperson at the Department of Homeland Security. She says, quote, "This is the direct consequence of constant attacks and demonization of our officers by sanctuary politicians who fuel and encourage rampant assault on our law enforcement. These men and women who are simply enforcing the law on the books are facing 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats." That is Trisha McLaughlin. She's the spokesperson there at the State Department. She is reacting to all of that. Here's what we are going to do. Sneak in a quick break. We are going to have more coverage coming up of this breaking incident. We're going to talk more also about the other news we are following today. I will note here we are also standing by for a press conference to come within the next few moments from the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. A quick break. Brookland News Live will return here in just a moment. Welcome back here live into Brookland News. I'm Jackson Mitchell. We are following a lot of news right now. We are going to continue to provide updates on this woman that was fatally shot after an ICE incident in Minneapolis there. We do want to take you to another quote, another statement here. We are getting in Governor of Minnesota Tim Walz, who we expect to hold a press conference coming up at about 2:15 Central Time here. He's reacting, saying, quote, "I've seen the video. Don't believe this propaganda machine. The state will ensure there is a full, fair, and expeditious investigation to ensure accountability and justice." Of course, Tim Walz recently dropping his re-election bid amid a major welfare fraud scandal there in Minneapolis, there in Minnesota, I should say. But he says he's not resigning from governor. That's some context behind who Tim Walz is. He was also the vice president, running mate for Kamala Harris. So that is his reaction into all of this, saying he's seen the video and essentially, quote, "Don't believe this propaganda machine" there. So we're going to follow this information as it comes in, and if we get any more details, we will bring that to you. We are continuing to follow this live camera live on the scene, where within the last few moments, it appears are beginning to put barricades back into storage, but within the last few moments or so, we did see that vehicle that rammed through the ICE agents, at least what the video appears to show, and led to the shooting. Led to the fatal shooting. We don't quite know the context of the video. That's what I always like to say, is you may see something in the video. We saw that car ramming through what appeared to be blockades by ICE agents. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said they were stuck in the snow and were working to get out, and then this vehicle essentially rammed through them. But what we saw, we don't know the context of the event. Was there more to this about 1 minute video that we actually saw? I actually want to play that video for you one more time if you'll allow me to. You'll have to give me just 1 second. I want to play that video for you just one more time here. If you guys will have to hold with me for just a moment, and we'll get that pulled up for you guys. But this is the video. I want to warn you once again, if you are just joining us, this video might be found disturbing to some viewers before we play it here. So I'm going to roll it. If you're might be disturbed by this video, turn the audio down, flip upside down your phone, do what you have to do not to view this video, but I will warn you, to some viewers, this could be found disturbing. Let's play the video here. Give me one moment. Here is that. Let's play it. So clearly a disturbing moment there, and it appears we've just lost our shot into this incident, and it appears we've just lost our shot into this incident is what I'm saying there. So we'll continue monitoring that, and as soon as we get it back, we'll take it back live there. But again, a pretty intense scene there, to say the least. Hard to watch for a lot of viewers. I'll agree with you that it is hard to watch. It is, it's just, we don't know the context behind all of this, so the information that we are getting in, and trying to make sure that you guys know the information, it is simply, again, like, we just don't know so many things. We are expecting a press conference to come here within the next few moments from Governor of Minnesota Tim Walz. We've just gotten a live camera into that event. As soon as we get it, we will take you there. What we are going to do quickly here is the police chief. He spoke on this incident after Mayor Jacob Fry. His name, I know his last name is O'Hare because we've aired a few of these press conferences before. So Police Chief O'Hare of the Minneapolis Police Department, he spoke as well, of course, after that quote that we heard from the Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry telling ICE to, quote, "Get the F out of here." I don't know how else to frame that. It appears he might be saying something. We don't have any audio from that. Okay, sorry, I was listening in because at times I might be doing audio checks, but also might be announcing that something is to come. Let's see if we have.
You guys got everything you need, right? I think so. All right. Holler if you guys need anything. We'll get you whatever you need.
Okay, I'm sorry. Usually when there's a person that comes up before the person speaks, that it's either audio check, a white balance of a camera, which is pretty much giving the camera the right color, to put it in basic terms, but also maybe even an announcement that this press conference could go later. So I want to make sure that you guys and myself are up to date on the information that we are getting in from this press conference that's expected to happen. Of course, here in a few moments, we are going to continue to monitor that scene. But what we are going to do here quickly is play that police chief that was speaking from Minneapolis in the last few moments or so. Let's roll the video. Here you go.
Brian O'Hara, B-R-I-A-N, O''H-A-R-A. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. This morning, Minneapolis police officers received a report of federal law enforcement being involved in a deadly force incident, meaning shots had been fired. Minneapolis police officers responded to the scene. We arrived and found a woman with a gunshot wound to the head. Life-saving measures were performed at the scene, including CPR. The woman was transported to Hennepin County Medical Center, where she has since been pronounced deceased. The preliminary information that we have indicates that this woman was in her vehicle and was blocking the roadway on Portland Avenue, midway between 33rd Street and 34th Street in the city. At some point, a federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed on the side of the roadway. Minneapolis police officers secured the crime scene and assisted in trying to preserve the evidence that is there. We have since turned over the scene both to the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which will be conducting an investigation into this use of deadly force. I want to thank the mayor, city council president, other members of the city council, state legislators that were on the scene. This has been a very difficult time for everyone in the city. And this is obviously a very, very tragic situation where a woman has lost her life. That being said, in addition to this tragedy, which unfortunately we did predict, we were seriously concerned about further escalation from the scene. And I want to thank the elected officials that came themselves to help us prevent that from happening, as well as the individuals on that scene that remained peaceful and that abided by law enforcement instructions so that we could preserve that scene and ensure that a full and transparent investigation can take place. That being said, I just echo the mayor's comments that we ask that the community continue to call for peace. We understand people are going to be upset about what happened, and people are going to want to exercise their First Amendment rights. But please do so safely and lawfully to ensure that we do not have any further tragedy in this city or destruction. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, council members.
The police chief, Brian O'Hara, speaking there. We'll continue listening into the question portion of this press conference.
I don't have that information, no. The question was, is there an identity of the ICE officer that fired? I do not have that.
Mayor, sorry, we're hearing the ICE officer stopped a position from helping the lady who was shot. Is that true? We've seen videos all over social media that someone tried to help this lady, and they were told, they were pointing guns at and told to get away. Do you know about that at all?
So the question was, there's information out there that people tried to help the woman that was shot, and ICE officers then pointed guns at them and told them to leave. I do not have that information. I myself saw a video of the shots being fired as the car was driving away. What I can tell you is the narrative that this was just done in self-defense is a garbage narrative. That is not true. It has no truth. And it needs to be stated very clearly, since we have already seen a video of it. I do not know as to what you're talking about.
Mayor, she wasn't driving.
Over here.
She wasn't driving a car toward him, using her vehicle as a weapon.
That does not appear to be the case at all.
What's the city's protocol when an observer or an activist calls 911? You say an agent's phone or an agent's pointing a gun at them. How does the city of Minneapolis handle that situation before considering that?
Repeat it one more time. I missed the first part of what you said. I'll turn it over to the chief. Yeah.
What does the city do when someone calls 911 and a federal agent's
Oh, I see.
pointing a gun at
Yeah.
them, that sort of thing?
I'll turn it over to the chief. The question is, what does someone do when a federal agent is pointing a gun at them? Chief.
So, if I heard you correctly, the question is about when people call 911, what is the city's protocol in these situations? We've had a very dramatic increase in 911 calls related to this activity. We have a protocol in place that has been evolving as the situation has been changing. And at this time, there is a designated supervisor that is on duty 24/7 that fields those calls. And we do everything that we can to ensure that they are appropriately prioritized, with the priority being placed upon the protection of life and safety of everyone in the community.
Can you tell us any more about the woman who was fatally shot? Was she there as a legal observer, protester, bystander? What do you know that you can share?
So the question was, what can I share about the deceased? There is nothing to indicate that this woman was the target of any law enforcement investigation or activity. This woman was in her car, and it appears then blocking the street because of the presence of federal law enforcement, which is obviously something that has been happening not just in Minneapolis, but around the country. She appears to be a middle-aged white woman.
Chief, just about a month ago, you said these unplanned and questionable tactics of federal agents would result in someone being killed at a press conference right here. Do you consider today's tactics in line with that, or do you just have a generic response to the fact that somebody is now dead?
The question is that I had previously made several statements about being concerned about the tactics being employed. I am obviously very concerned that I have been told that a woman who was sitting in her car blocking the street and not the target of any enforcement activity is now deceased. However, I do not know, to be clear, I do not know the exact circumstances of the shooting, but I would tell you, in any professional law enforcement agency in the country, I think they would tell you it's obviously very concerning whenever there's a shooting into a vehicle of someone who's not armed, but it also is something that is possible. At times it is justified. But it is very concerning, and it's something that most law enforcement agencies in the country train very intensely to try and minimize the risk that law enforcement officers get placed into a situation that the need for deadly force would be necessary.
Has there been any indication of a need in this case?
I didn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
Has there been any indication of the need to shoot into the vehicle?
The question was any indication about the need. I guess getting back to the justification of this, I have not seen any information other than what I have communicated.
Was she alone in the car? Were there children in the car with her?
The question was if she was alone in the car. I know that I got there shortly after this call came in. I did not see anyone else with her while I was on the scene. However, I've since been told by our officers that have been with her the entire time that a spouse has arrived at the hospital.
Mayor, just curious if you're thinking about contacting federal authorities to register your concerns about this, personally making phone calls, et cetera.
Yes, we've been on the phone all morning. As soon as we learned about this, again, there were a series of priorities that we needed to go through. The first, of course, is to keep people safe and to help the victim in any way that we could. The second was to get ICE off of the scene. There was the notion that ICE agents would be necessary to create a perimeter around the scene itself. They themselves were creating the kind of dysfunction and chaos that they claimed to be trying to help with. And so the message that we delivered very clearly was to make them leave. Now, beyond leaving the scene, they should also leave our city and our state. We do work, our chief does work, our sheriff does work every single day to keep people safe in our city and in our state. And crime is dramatically down. Crime is down. It continues to trend down. They are doing the hard work of investigating, of arresting perpetrators of violent crime. What this federal administration is doing right now is not about creating safety. Do not let them tell you that what they are doing is about creating safety. It is not. It is having the opposite impact. We need to be clear-eyed about the work that is moving forward, and they need to leave Minneapolis.
We have time for one or two more questions.
Mayor, you may know this with your legal background. If a shooting is found to not be justified, does the city have any legal, or the state rather, have any legal recourse to bring charges against this ICE agent, given that this person is a federal agent, if the feds don't?
So obviously, and I have to always lead with this caveat because it is true, an investigation still does need to be conducted. I had my perception of what took place based on the vehicle and the vehicle's positioning. It does not appear that the individual is trying to ram anybody. Now, the question was, if it is in fact found to be an unjustified shooting, who issues the charge, who prosecutes, how does justice take place? I don't know the answer in full to that. This is obviously information that we're still working out. Chief, do you have any additional information, or Commissioner?
The only thing I would add to the mayor's statement is that the crime scene was held by the Minneapolis Police Department, and the investigation is now being led jointly by the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. And the purpose of their involvement would be to investigate whether any state laws within the state of Minnesota have been violated.
Can I just add something to that too? What's very important is that for our communities that we do have some kind of part in this investigation. It needs to be done on a local level. With all due respect to the federal level, we do need to make sure that our local agencies are involved. Most certainly the BCA is very well capable of working with our federal partners in doing so. That is something that is needed for our communities, and so that's something that I can tell you that there's already been conversations from the U.S. Attorney's Office to the BCA that have already taken place today. How that's going to roll out, we don't know yet, but we are making sure that there is some kind of local entity, namely the BCA, that has a part in this investigation for the purposes of transparency and expedient transparency as to what happened today.
One more. If that's it. Thank
So,
you, everybody.
final piece, again, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you to the media for being here and disseminating this very important information around this tragic incident. To reiterate a final message to our community members, I understand the anger. Let's unite around hope and love and peace and getting justice. That's what we need to be doing right now. I appreciate the service from everybody up here as well as the 435,000 people that call Minneapolis home. Thank you.
There we go. Sorry, we had to get that audio pulled back up. A press conference there from just moments ago. Want to go to the scenes. We are still monitoring right now. A live look there at that scene there in Minneapolis. We'll have more coverage for you coming up here in just a moment. Plus, we expect in a few seconds or so, actually say any minute or so, second to these press conferences. So again, we're waiting for Tim Walz to speak there, the governor of Minnesota. Excuse me. We're back here in just a moment. Welcome back here live into Brookland News, headquarters here in Brookland, Arkansas. I'm Jackson Mitchell. We are following so much news. We're going to quickly here. We're only here with you guys for just an hour. So I want to take a look back at this scene. Appears to be a small memorial beginning to grow there. A sage burning. Of course, something burned to remove negative energy there. That appears to be sage and some flowers. A small memorial growing there. Live look there at the press conference. As soon as it begins, we will take you there live. I do want to turn to some other news we are following right now, and I'll be very careful and make sure I'm watching all of our feeds to make sure we get in any type this news as soon as we get it. But I do want to turn right now. The Brown University and the MIT professor shooter recorded a video before his death. The video was not released, but a transcript of the video was released, and I read the entire thing, and I'll provide a quick summary. The shooter, of course, Claudio Neves Valentina, he recorded 4 videos before committing suicide. The transcript of each of those videos now on your screen, where he essentially notes how he had an injury to the eye and expressed why he left after 6 semesters at Brown University. He also talked about a lack of love or hatred for America, viewing it as an opportunity rather than a vendetta. He also considered himself sane. He believes the world can't be redeemed, and he's essentially also saying that he doesn't want fame following this event. Of course, he has now been he was killed by a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was alleged to have been a part of that shooting that left 2 dead and 9 injured at Brown University, but also he was alleged to kill the MIT professor in Brookline, Massachusetts. So that is what the news we are getting in there. On the other front of things, again, as we do continue to follow this news, we are waiting for Governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, to react on this information. As soon as he does, we will take you there live. We do have a live look there into that scene right now. As soon as we get it, we'll take you there. And that, I want to go back here and change something quickly. That scene is actually, I'm just learning, it's actually in Blaine. One moment. There we go. Okay, things have been changed. I want to take it back live to the scene where we are seeing essentially this growing memorial. Okay, looks like there's a reporter doing a live shot there, so I won't turn the audio up too high, and if we see his face, I'll get right off of it. But, yeah, so we're watching that scene there. As soon as we get more updates, we will bring you into that moment live, of course. What we're going to do here, I'm going to sneak in a quick break. We're going to talk about more news on the other side of this, and I'll tell you, at the beginning, at the end of every segment, we're gonna monitor this scene. I just want to make sure you guys are up to date on the headlines that have also happened, as well as this big one. Of course, it's a big headline, but I want to make sure we also know about everything else that's happening across the world today. We're back here in just a moment. Welcome back into Brooklyn News. I'm Jackson Mitchell. We are monitoring a number of different headlines. Excuse me as I'm looking around at the different news sources to see if we need to report on anything different than what we already have. I want to continue our breaking news coverage. Again, a woman is said to be a middle-aged woman, 37 years old is the age we are getting here at Brooklyn News, fatally shot after an incident in Minneapolis involving ICE agents. We have showed you the video. I'll refrain from showing it again just because I know it can be found disturbing. It's disturbing. It's hard to watch even to myself. I will note we are standing by for a press conference to come at any moment from Governor of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm going to get it one of these times. I've said it multiple times now on accident. I apologize. As soon as we get it, we will take you there live. Again, as soon as we get that live feed, we will take you there. Right now, more lawmakers and different people reacting to this news. I want to take you to one of those reactions. This is Tom Emmer. He's the majority whip in the House of Representatives. He's writing, quote, "Our brave ICE agents put their lives on the line every day to protect our communities from dangerous criminals. May God bless and protect them in their efforts. Shame on the elected officials who endangered these agents by spewing lies and hateful rhetoric." That's Tom Emmer. He is the representatives, the House Majority Whip, as I was just saying, over in the House. So again, any moment we do expect this press conference feed that we've been watching on the left side of my screen to come alive. As soon as it does, we will take you there. We are continuing to follow more news at this hour, and that is that we have learned that J.D. Vance's home was, in fact, broken into. That's at least the news we're getting in right now. Again, J.D. Vance's, the vice president's Cincinnati home, was vandalized, and a suspect is now in custody. Take a look at this, you guys. You can see the video there from the local news station WLWT showing multiple windows broken into. The suspect, William DeFore, that's his name, that's what he was identified as. You'll see some footage of him here in just a moment. He's age 26. He appeared in court, I believe, yesterday. His bond set at $11,000. Police, federal agents alleging there's the suspect there. He used hammers to smash windows. This was early Monday morning. He also tried, this is at least what prosecutors in the case allege, to break windows of a Secret Service vehicle. They say he caused around $28,000 in damage. Again, by the state, he's charged with vandalism, criminal damaging, and trespassing. Federal charges. So again, he's facing state and federal charges. Federal damaging government property, assaulting, resisting, or impeding federal officers. There's the suspect again, William DeFore. Those are the charges he is facing. His mother is reacting to all of this, blaming this all on his mental health and their battle with it. Here's his mother speaking out to WLWT. Take a look.
Mental illness is a terrible thing. It is a struggle which can take over the life of a beautiful person and the people who love and support them. Unfortunately, for our child, it has taken over his life in a way that we could never have imagined.
The mother there speaking out of William DeFore, the suspect. So we are going to monitor this story and the case that this 26-year-old now faces in court. His mother again there really saying that they've had a long battle with mental health. So that's something we are going to continue to follow here. We do want to take you back to our live camera that we have inside this room in Blaine, Michigan, where we expect the press conference to get underway at any moment. As soon as it does, we will take you there live. Want to get you some other news. We are following right this moment, and that is on the Venezuelan front and the U.S. front and the everything going on with that. So If you remember back at the beginning, I can't remember if it was the campaign or back at the beginning of the Trump administration once he won the election and took over. He floated the idea of taking over Greenland. He says now that idea kind of went away, but now it's back, and now President Trump is floating the idea, saying they are considering a range of options here. We are going to turn our coverage. We are going to get to that in just a moment, I promise. Governor Tim Walz now at the podium there speaking on this deadly Minneapolis, Minnesota ICE agent
Good
involved shooting.
afternoon. Today I'm joined by Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson, Colonel Schaefer of the Minnesota National Guard, and Colonel Bogojevic of the Minnesota State Patrol. This morning we learned that an ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We have been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV, and today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear, Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident, but we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this: I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this: please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community, they're business owners, they're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Bob Jacobson of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety.
Alrighty there, Governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, speaking after an ICE agent was fatally shot. I should say an ICE agent fatally shot another person in Minneapolis. We're going to continue to monitor this press conference as soon as we get more news. If we get any more information outside of this press conference, we will take you there live. Time now 2:43, and the reason we're having to cut that press conference short, I apologize, but there is so much news that we want to get to, and we want to show you guys. That starts first with what we were talking about just before Governor Tim Walz began speaking there, and that is that Trump is again floating this idea of control of Greenland. You're hearing me right there. Of course, Greenland, not an actual independent country, rather a territory run by Denmark. So this idea of buying Greenland has been talked about, but also they say the U.S. here, the White House releasing a statement saying they're discussing, quote, a range of options on this. I believe we have some video we're able to show you. I should say a quote, rather, we're able to show you where Trump actually floated this idea. This is what he said on Truth Social. Quote, I am pleased to announce that this is the wrong statement. Sorry about that. Here's the right one. Quote, President Trump has made it well known that acquiring Greenland is a national security priority of the United States, and it's vital to deter our adversaries in the Arctic region. The president and his team are discussing a range of options to pursue this important foreign policy goal, and of course, utilizing the U.S. military is always an option at the commander-in-chief's disposal. So a question there on the future of what goes on next for Greenland. Directly they're saying in that quote, the U.S. is discussing a range of options. Not only that, but they are discussing also utilizing the U.S. military, saying it is, quote, always an option at the commander-in-chief's disposal there. So quite an interesting quote there, quite an interesting moment coming in from the White House. So something else we are going to continue to follow. Wanted to sneak in that pretty quickly there. We do have more we are planning to discuss. Let's just do this. Let's go back out live to this press conference that we've been watching and listen into as we learn some more details into all of this.
Reckless or dangerous driving, especially near pedestrians, and certainly assault of aggressive or riotous behavior toward anyone. We all want definitive answers to what happened today. Our Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is working in conjunction with the FBI to investigate this morning's shooting. As you know, we don't comment on active investigations, but also keep in mind that this is an investigation is also in its infancy. So any speculation about what had happened would be just that. And we will not engage in speculation. With that, I will turn it back over to the governor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'd be glad to take any questions. Yeah, and I can let General Schaefer talk about this. It so happens it's a training weekend. We've got about 7,500 troops in training at our training sites across the state. What it is, and in the National Guard, you give a warning order, which is a heads up of something could be coming. That just allows people to think about what they would need, what it would mean to mobilize, what it would mean to put them in. And I could let the general talk a little bit about this. Obviously, since the summer of 2020, we had a lot of work done on teams being ready to make sure that civil unrest. And what that means, and I think Commissioner Jacobson was very clear, and I want Minnesotans to hear this from me. The desire to get out and protest and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is, that is a patriotic duty at this point in time, but it needs to be done safely. And I think the commissioner simply just laid out some of those parameters. We can do that. This is the peaceful resistance that we need. Simon, you want to say a few things about what that means to have them on the ready?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Governor. So for the military, Minnesota National Guard is comprised of 13,000 soldiers and airmen. We live all across and work throughout Minnesota. A warning order is just an initial step to increase your preparations. The Minnesota Guard is always prepared to respond and support state agencies and the citizens of Minnesota. So what that means for us today is just some additional checks on equipment that is ready at all times, and maybe some additional phone calls to service members who might be activated, but no activations. We are embedded with our state agencies here at the Operations Center to just continue parallel planning in the event that we are needed to support.
Thanks, General. And I would make note, Mary, and to Minnesotans on this about the National Guard, they're there to protect you and protect your constitutional rights. These are our neighbors. They don't wear masks. They don't bust in from somewhere else. They're not here to cause hassles to you or what we saw today, the tragedy. Having them at the ready to make sure, because when we see these types of things happen, and we saw it after the murder of George Floyd, there's folks that want to cause chaos. There's the disruptors in it. And while the vast majority of those protests were peaceful expressions of their First Amendment rights, there were those that destroyed property and put people at risk. The National Guard is there to make sure that peaceful protests are able to be done, and that those that want to do the destruction are stopped from doing that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and well, and I think apparently by a federal agent, not by Minnesotans who were there to express their First Amendment rights. I think we've seen this to have folks ready. The gatherings that were down there today, I think this shocked everyone. People showed up as they should. There's people putting flowers down on a memorial. There's people expressing their anger. It's just as these situations develop, we decide when we need to move these people out. And I think the local reporters know well on this. Both unfortunately and for us, the upside of this is that we're very good and we've had practice at this. And I just want to, again, implore Minnesotans, I am not telling you not to express your anger or your frustrations or the outrage that we have. Look, this was totally predictable, as I said it yesterday, and it was totally.
Okay, it appears maybe a technical difficulty quickly there with the shot that we're just getting in. They've just changed it to a live look there in Minneapolis there. I apologize about that. Give me one moment. Let's go right back to the feed. I want to continue playing it out for you. Let's go right back to that feed. Sorry about that, you guys.
Avoidable. And I just want to remind you, too, that local law enforcement, we get no coordination. They don't tell us they're coming. They don't say why they're sending the largest deployment in American history to Minneapolis. They're not making us any safer. We don't have any of that coordination. They should be talking to us when we do these things. Let us know. We're going to be down here. This is going to happen. We don't have that. So when you see local law enforcement or state patrol, or if it would take the National Guard, we're there responding to the chaos they've created too, but our role is to make sure that we're protecting Minnesotans so that something like this doesn't happen. I have not. The question was, have I spoken to the individual's family? No, we do not have a definitive ID on this individual. And I look, I'm going to note to all of you, I think it's really important, and the professionals do this, and they train me to do this. This is an open investigation. You need to be very careful about it. I know that many of you, myself included, have seen a very difficult video to watch, one where there's a family member watched their family member be shot and killed in front of them. It's beyond me that apparently from the federal government, from the Homeland Security Director herself, has already determined who this person was, what their motive was, and they hadn't even been taken out of the vehicle. We're not living in a normal world. And so, no, I have not. And I want to be very careful because I know how painful this is. I know how painful it is right now. I'm saying person and all that. This is a human being. This very well is an individual's child, a parent, and we don't know that yet. So no, I have not, but once we do, we will. So yes. Please. Colonel, would you like to do that? Colonel?
So the governor was mentioning mobilizing more of the state patrol. How many state patrol people are on the ground in right now? And should there have been more state patrol people on the ground like a couple weeks ago when I came?
So the question was, how many state patrol troopers have been deployed to the city of Minneapolis? Right now, we don't talk typical numbers because that is considered security information. We do have a specialized team that does deal with crowd control, and so they have been deployed. But again, they are from all over the state of Minnesota, so they will come in tiers to the state.
And they had already been on the ground to some extent before?
No, it was in response to this event.
I'm sorry, what was it? Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government. I think in this case that the National Guard is their main mission. They have a dual mission. There's the federal mission when they're under Title 10 orders, and then they're under Title 32 orders. In this warning order, there's nothing officially been done yet. If I am to activate them as the Commander-in-Chief of the Minnesota National Guard, I will issue the executive order to the Minnesota National Guard, and then they will be put in state duty status. And as you've seen over the last few years, that could be flood prevention, that could be after a wind-blowing storm up in the north, up in Bemidji, or it could be COVID or George Floyd response. In this case, again, it doesn't necessarily change the mission. They're there to protect Minnesotans. They're there to serve Minnesotans. I think the thing that is so challenging in the moment we're in is we don't see a desire to work with us on public safety. We hear a demonization of our state. We see people coming in who don't know our community, and we see this massive display for the TVs that we're trying to understand how is this coordinated. And some of you watch the videos on there, total chaos. And look, I have very limited work in this is the training in the National Guard, but I've had a lot of training now to watch how our professionals operate. After this person was shot, federal agents milling around, touching the vehicle at a crime scene and things. I don't know what to tell you, and I don't quite know how to respond to the question other than my primary responsibility as governor is the protection of the people of Minnesota. And you can be assured, whether it's the State Patrol or whether it's the National Guard, their deployment is there to protect Minnesotans from whatever it is. If it's an act of nature, if it's a global pandemic, or in this case, if it is a rogue federal agent. I don't know at this time, and I want to be very careful. It's unprecedented that we have the federal government's already determined exactly what's happened here and the motives of an individual that we don't even know the name. They don't know the name, and that's very difficult. So, well, one more, Dana. Look, and I understand the uniqueness of this moment in this week, following this week, seeing what's happening in the backdrop of a show hearing in D.C. My job is to govern, and my job is to see what the facts are. This happened a couple of hours ago, and we're already pitting American against American. All of you saw a video in your eyes. We have a chaotic situation caused by the largest deployment in American history of federal agents into a community with no communication to locals. We had a chaotic situation where an individual is in their car, shot and killed. And so, look, I want to be very cautious here because Donald Trump will make this about me. He will make this about politics. This is about public safety, and this is about normalcy. To Americans who are watching this, if you're in Portland or you're in LA or you're in Chicago or you're wherever they're coming next, stand with us. Stand with us against this. This was so preventable, so unnecessary, and I don't know. I hope. Maybe we're at the McCarthy moment. Do you have no decency? Do you have no decency? We have someone dead in their car for no reason whatsoever. And I don't want to be right about this, but I said if they do this, they're going to create a chaotic situation where someone innocent's going to get killed. And they did it. And now we hear more political rhetoric. Enough is enough. And so to Minnesotans, don't take the bait. Do not take the bait. Do not allow them to deploy federal troops into here. Do not allow them to invoke the Insurrection Act. Do not allow them to declare martial law. Do not allow them to lie about the security and the decency of this state. And let's let this investigation play itself out. Let's make sure we protect our neighbors. I encourage you to use your First Amendment rights and all of your constitutional rights, but do so in a peaceful manner. We'll gather back with you as soon as we gather more information that needs to be put out. But again, stay safe, Minnesotans, and we'll be back with you.
A press conference there just wrapping up there in Blaine, Michigan. We were just watching it all as it played out. Officials providing an update there. You know, I'm not sure. Of course, the video that we've seen, the video that I've been able to show you guys, as you heard there, the governor saying it's extremely disturbing to watch, but we watched it. It shows a woman in her vehicle appearing to kind of bypass a barricade, something that may have been stuck by something that was by ICE agents, and those ICE agents began shooting at her, ultimately leading to this fatal a moment that we saw. We're taking a look there. You see the helicopter there in this incident, and of course leaving this 37-year-old woman dead, or we don't know her name. We don't know if her family has been notified or what the update is on that side of things. Of course, we're still waiting on that. But what we do know is, again, so limited. This video eventually showing again a car going through what appears to be some type of barricade by ICE, and ultimately ended in her being killed. The governor there, Tim Walz, saying he is just, simply put it, angry, and he doesn't think that this is something that should have happened. He says it was, quote, highly preventable. I want to show you a quote that's coming in right now. This is my first time reading it, but we do know Trump weighing in on all of this, saying, quote, I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who the violently, willfully, and viciously man ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, there was a clip attached to this Truth Social post. He goes on to say it is hard to believe that he is alive, but now is recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety, but the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of, quote, I should say, in all camps here, making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement and violence and hate there. So Trump weighing in on this. I mean, I don't think you can disagree that what Tim Walz said is going to make this political. That was political. He blamed this attack there on the radical left. Something we've seen from multiple other Republicans, Democrats. Of course, they're not going to blame it on themselves, but they are saying that what Republicans are saying, what ICE is saying, that this was done in a motive of self-defense is simply not true, and arguing that it was done purposely. Of course, we don't know the exact details. Again, we're doing our best here not to speculate on the details. We've all seen the video here. And we'll follow it as we get more details. We are going to wrap up, though, this edition of Brookland News Live. It has been so good to be with you all. It's so nice when we're able to come on the air, cover this breaking news, and allow more people to be informed about a story that is happening. Minneapolis, I mean, to pull into some context here, a city that has been faced with so many of these alleged attacks by ICE agents, and the Somali community has been under fire there. Trump has said before that they are, simply put it, not citizens, and need to go back to Somalia. So they have been under a lot of fire. Minneapolis, a community that is really just stuck together in such a harsh moment, when we've seen the videos of just this attack, but also these alleged other attacks. So, a hard moment, but also just a hard moment for all of these communities being faced by ICE agents, where they are going and finding what they say is illegal immigrants and pulling them out from their families. Of course, that's a hard moment for any illegal immigrant to be forcefully pulled away from your family. But if you're an illegal immigrant, I mean, the first part of it is illegal for a reason there. So we are going to continue to follow all of this in Minneapolis and so much more. If we get an update, please follow me on my social media pages. It's there at the bottom of your screen. Tomorrow, we're back with a brand new edition of Brookland News Live, covering the headlines, making stories. We'll likely have some type of update, some type of something, at least on this story, if we get it in. But in the meantime, again, follow me on my social media pages. That's going to do it for us. So good to be with you all. So thank you so much for tuning in throughout the last little bit here. I'll put up our little promo screen for just a moment. Let you know where you can catch us, when you can catch us. That is, again, weekdays at 2 p.m. Hope to see you right back here tomorrow. We won't be here on Friday, and likely next Tuesday. I'll just let you go ahead and know that those are the dates we might not be with you. There's going to be times like that we're not here. Okay, we'll see you right back here.